Okay, it's been a long time. How are you doing? It's been like long time.
I know. I haven't seen you. When did you leave Keystone?
Um,
Here.
2000, I think 2000, what was it? 2010?
Really? Wow. So like 8 years ago.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
long time. Well,
I was
go
I
ahead.
was there 25 years, but I left there in January this year, so I'm not there anymore either.
So, w- w- you left?
Yeah, they have a new corporation that took over. You know, when you
Mm,
were there, it was MTC, and then a new company came and took over. So
okay, thank you. Today I'll be interviewing an amazing person who who I do want to talk about Jack Black. How did you get him on the video? That was pretty amazing.
yeah, well, you know the whole story of our lives was made into a documentary that was on television, and that showed on it was like on True TV for a while, and you could just catch it here and there, and it was ended up on Netflix, and it was the story of the band that I played in growing up, and it was a polka band, and we had become quite popular, you know, and we were nominated for a Grammy Award at one time, and all kinds of stuff happened. You know, we ended up with a bus crash, and a couple of our musicians were killed, even. Um, but so all of that was made into a documentary, and not long after that, we were contacted by some movie producers that said they would like to make that a movie. So one of the people that they work with quite often was Jack Black. So they sent him the documentary, and he watched it. And according to them, he called right back and said, you know, I want to play this part. I want to be this guy in the movie. So they told him, don't even ask anybody else. You know, he wanted that part.
That is so awesome. I like that. I like that. That's awesome. Congrats. To that.
Yeah, thanks.
Before that, can you introduce to yourself who you are to the audience, please?
Yeah, my name is Steve Saive. Um, I'm a trumpet player, and I grew up in Pennsylvania. Um, at one point, I came across a band leader who had moved here from Poland. His name was Jan Levon, and he was trying to start a band. So I ended up going with him and joining his band, and he became quite popular, but he also got himself in trouble. That's all part of the story. You know, there's never a movie unless there's a scandal or something. So what he wanted to do to become even more popular, to have more money, he started taking investments from people. So if you like the band, and you can invest money with him. And I don't know if you saw the whole thing, the whole story played out in the Polka King movie, which is on Netflix right now. But he ended up going to prison because he wasn't registered to sell securities, and he had earned maybe $5 or $6 million that he had collected from people, but really all he had was a band and a gift shop where he sold gifts from his home country of Poland. So he never really did have a whole lot of things to be able to pay these people back. So they finally got to him, and he ended up going to prison for it. But it was a good 10 years probably that I played with his band, and we traveled all over the world, and um, we were regulars at the Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City. We played there all the time. We traveled to Poland and Germany and Switzerland, Denmark, really all over the world, and just played music. So it was a great life. And
It
until he
seemed,
finally got arrested.
it seemed like you very enjoy doing what you do. But also, I got interested. I'm interested. How did you get into in Keystone? Like,
Into
what?
Keystone.
Yeah.
Oh, well, when I was in college, I majored in music, and right out of college, I became a high school band director. So I was in a town close to Keystone as a high school band director. Um, I quit doing that and just played music full time for a while. And then when I was getting tired of traveling, I decided to go back to college and I got my principal's degree. And then I ended up at Keystone Job Corps as a teacher first. And then I was able to move up and become the principal because I had the degree, my master's degree in principal.
Okay, thank you. I also this I don't know how is Keystone now since you left. How before I left, how is it now? What's the like?
It's a lot different. You know, the new company that took over, they operate on a much smaller budget. So, um, the kids, of course, they're going to be the same no matter where you go. You have your good ones, your bad ones, but they're the ones that you try to work with, change their lives. And, that's what we were all about. And the new company does the same thing, but it's just much tougher to work with, a much smaller budget and certain things, like they can afford like maintenance people to clean the buildings. So actually, the teachers would take turns cleaning the bathrooms and things like that. So it got to be a lot harder, with the new company. But like everything else, they want to save money. So they look for every means possible, to do that.
Mm, that's really tough. I really love Keystone. I really love Keystone for what it
Yeah,
is. Even though it gave me some hard times, back in the day, people give me a lot of hard times, you know. But I still love. I think that people over there, like all the teachers, adults, are amazing, right?
yeah,
Even though I did some crazy stuff over there, but I still love them.
right.
They like the RAs especially. Jima. I don't know if you know Jima. She was in Washington A, and she was
Yeah,
amazing. And then they have what was it? Who was there? They have before I went there. It was what, Lincoln B for newbies. Man, there's so many good people.
yeah.
But
Were you there when the new dormitories were built?
was I well, when they built? I I don't know. Are you talking about before I left? Wait, when was it? 2011 or
Yeah, I was trying to remember if they built those dormitories when you were there. Because every student stays in a brand new dormitory now. They're all brand new from, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. But
Well, they did. Well, I was there when they start to build the new. Well, actually, they built the new cafeteria.
oh, okay.
I think I was
Yeah,
there.
the new calf and all new dormitories too.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? Wow, it's been like so. You know, I remember back then. I remember when we had this. What was it called? The morning. We had to go to the morning, like Monday or something. Morning.
Oh
What was it?
yeah, like the business meeting in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah. That right. I remember. Sometime Miss Neal, what her philosophy. I wish she could change it a little bit because I think that when the thing that she said, or people often say in Keystone, said you will leave Keystone. You should not be friends
Mm,
with people. I think that's the wrong mindset, right? Because after I left Keystone, we like friends were connected, like network. If it's like college, right? I
yeah,
think that's the shift. That's my philosophy a little bit. But
yeah.
what is? I would like to ask a couple questions. In of course, you. It seemed like you. Do you like education?
I'm sorry, my dog was barking. Can you repeat that?
I said, do you like education, or how do you see?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I think, I enjoyed being a teacher, I think, actually more than I did being the principal. because um, it's nice to work with the students every day and not just be in the office, and see them every now and then. So that's what, when I became a principal, I really missed being able to work with the kids all the time,
What
you know.
what make you love enjoy like teaching the students?
I think it's just, making a difference in their lives, your heart breaks when you hear the stories of some of the students and where they came from, and they have, really nothing back home, and to try to get them and educated, and become successful. That's really why, all those teachers there, that's why they do it, because, it's certainly not for the money. They don't make very much money. But most of the people there, we always used to joke about it because, you get hired there, and, as a teacher, you think, well, the public school pays more money, but at least I have my foot in the door. Then I can say I have experience as a teacher. But a lot of those people never leave, because they like Job Corps so much, and they like working with the kids there, that even though they could make more money somewhere else, they choose to stay. And that's what I did. I thought at first, well, I'll go over there and teach for a little bit until I find something better, And then 25 years later, I was still there because I liked it. And in the meantime, I had offers to be principal at other schools and things like that, but I would just tell them, no, I'm good where I'm at right now. Even though I would have made more money, but I like the students.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate that. Um, I
Yeah.
come from, I come from a background that is not so good, right? Uh, the reason why I do interviews and stuff like that is because to inspire people. Because I don't have a good educational background, right? I was put into special education when I was little,
Right.
and and so that's why my mission in life now is to be able to impact people to see that um, that education can be good, but there's parts that need to be solved, right? Because
Hmm.
when, for example, I know that you see that school didn't have the skill set to teach you about people or relationships. Um, a lot of people come out of school, they don't have a lot of skill set that they need.
Hmm.
It breaks my heart, you know. That's one of the things that I want to know. Help, but there are great teachers. Second, I want to. Well, no, that's another story. But I will. How do you, for you? How do you uh, see that education can be improved now?
Uh, Gosh, I think one of the things that's probably the toughest thing is just attracting good quality people to want to become teachers, you know. And I hear it more and more. Um, the teachers in the public schools, they have a hard time. A lot of them have a hard time controlling their classes today because some of the kids don't want to be there, and it's constant disruptions, and they get frustrated by it. But all in all, I think if you, can have a classroom where you're able to relate to the students, then that's when they learn. If you're just up there preaching and talking and going by the book, and teaching the facts, not too many people really care. But if I say, hey, Johnny, what are you really interested in? And you say football. And I say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's learn about football with this, type of math, or, you learn the statistics. I think when you relate real life things and events that students are interested in, then you can teach them a lot better. The other thing is you have to um, implement technology into the classroom. Everybody, we live on these cell phones, but as soon as you go into a classroom, it's, put your phones away and do this and do that. But I would love to see classes, where the teacher walks in and says, okay, everybody get out your smartphones and Google this, and whoever gets the answer first, then you would see everybody, actively involved and, you know, participating. But we don't have a lot of that going on these days.
I like that thinking. I love that. Thank you. What was it? There was a tough time also for Keystone. How also, I know that there have been incidents that there's been tough time for teachers. I know that there is. Like, I'm the one who, of course, I don't make lots of trouble as I used to, like in high school. That's why
Mm,
I'm glad. That's why I'm glad that I got kicked out of high school. So because it gave me the new experience to go to Keystone Job Corp. I love Keystone, right?
right.
It gave me new experience. It gave me new friends, new people, like amazing people. But how do you guys deal with the difficult students though? Because I know it's tough.
It is, one of the things you have to do is not take anything personal, you know, because I know how, some of the kids, even, as much as I would want to work with them, or say, come here a minute, and they'll say, go F yourself, you know. And if you are like so serious that that's going to make you mad, then you're not going to get anywhere, Where my philosophy was always, well, you told me, go F myself, I would say, oh, I'm really sorry that you feel like that, Try to talk to me more and find out what's going on because it's always something else that's the real problem, you know? When the kids are acting out in class or they're yelling and screaming in the office, till that teacher, the teacher bring the student to the office and they would be in there arguing, yelling back and forth. And I would tell the teacher, okay, you go back to class, let me talk to Johnny. And then finally they say, all right, what is going on? Well, it's nothing to do with that. My mom called from home last night and this and that. So a lot of the problems, and things that go on in the classroom are just carryovers from, the students' lives, what's going on back home. And that's their way of dealing with it because they really don't know, too many other options and how to handle stress. And so they just act out a lot of times. But a
Mm.
good teacher can spot that and not get mad themselves, or take it personal. You have to say, okay, he just yelled at me. There's got to be a reason why he did that. It's not because he hates me, because yesterday we were fine. It's usually something else that's the problem.
You are truly right. You are truly right. I remember when I came to Keystone, I actually wanted to leave Keystone because it was a new place. I didn't, like, I remember I was really scared because I was
Uh,
experiencing new things, right? I never
yeah,
experienced before. New things that I didn't experience before. What was it? Uh, Sleeping in the room by myself was pretty scary. It was cold though.
yeah,
Uh, I wait. After after I left, there was like really big blizzard or something happened. I don't know. It's been a long time.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, for the how for you if because I'm the reason why I'm doing this too also is to help people who are in Keystone or who are thinking of going to Keystone. You think they should go into Keystone or they consider or what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I would highly recommend it, because it's, like you said, it was a total different world when you got there. And I always try to have the teachers and everybody else realize that too, because I always would tell the teachers, well, put yourself in that space. What if you had to leave home tomorrow and go to some strange place and move in and be with all new people? Do that again. It's not easy to do, but once you get used to that, and the students don't always want to hear it, but you just have to trust that what the staff are telling you, um, and how to behave, and how to study and all that good stuff, that it's for your own good. You know, it's not a punishment to have you cleaning your dorms every morning. You know, it's just getting into a good way of life that um, will pay off in the long run. You know, it's not, a lot of those rules aren't to punish anybody. It's just, you know, getting used to a more professional way of life.
Yes. I do miss all the cleaning though. I do miss all the putting in the bed, you know, putting
All your
like
dorm
um
duties.
the dorm duties and the but the thing, yeah, that's the thing that why I always even if people think it's because I think the experience I think it's subjective, right? How people see their uh, view Keystone. You know, I developed amazing friends, people that care about me. I developed a relationship there who you know, even though we broke up, it was still amazing. You know.
Yeah. You know what's amazing is, and like you know, the transformation that you made. You know, when you came to Keystone, it was such a new place and strange. And like you said, you wanted to leave after a short time. But then once you were there, it becomes like a big family. And what we witness is students get so used to being there that when it comes getting close to when they're going to graduate, they start acting up again. And they don't, you know, some of them will purposely like not pass a GED test because if they pass it, then they graduate and they have to leave. So they will, you know, they start to get afraid to leave then because they like it and they don't want to make another change in their life, you know, because they're used to being there. So it's not easy once you're there to leave either.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But the thing is, one thing I'm grateful for is that even though Keystone helped me develop a skill set that I never had before. And while I always tell this in my video, um, and to my well, I don't know if my audience watches, but they'll watch it now. That
Hmm.
when I was a newbie, right, in the new dorm, while everybody was socializing with everybody else,
Yeah,
I was there was a trade called business administration or BOP, whatever, and I could
yeah,
not type. I used to hate typing or I was afraid to type because back in sixth grade, I was doing the pecking method, right? So
yeah.
people were playing, and I was typing like every single day until I can actually type without looking, right?
Mm,
And that's a very like amazing. That's why I always revert back to Keystone.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, some of that stuff, even though it might just be very fundamental, it's stuff that you'll use the rest of your life, you know. Maybe you just got a degree in business office technology or because they changed the name of that a few times, but like the office trade, you know. If nothing else, you know how to type excellent and you can use that in so many different jobs. You know, it's not just learning that trade. It's learning skills that, you know, carry into different fields of employment.
I believe skill sets are important, very important in this world. Um, what do you have? I would like to ask: do you have any fears, and how do you overcome
Do I have any fears? Hmm, good question.
Well, the reason why I asked that I don't because I think that the reason why I do it because my channel is about inspiring people to live their dream. Even though it sounds crazy, even though it's like I mean you're living your dream, like you're doing amazing things, right? With your
Right.
band,
Yeah.
and you know when we become adults, we stop dreaming of a bigger things that we want for ourselves. For example, my I want to be able to interview amazing people, authors or best-selling authors, and people would think it would be crazy, but I'm doing that. So, what is your fear, and how would you like? Do you have fears?
Well, I think we have fears of a lot of things, and I think the biggest fear that everybody has is failure. But if you don't take that next step, you'll never know if you are going to succeed or fail. I could stop right now and say, well, I'm happy, as a trumpet player, I made a movie with Jack Black and all that. But to me, it's like, okay, what's coming up next? What's the next big feat? And so I think that's probably my biggest fear, and probably everybody's biggest fear is the fear of failure. But if you don't try it, you'll never know. And the other thing that struck me today was just thinking about, as you're living your life, don't take it for granted, you know, because one of the things, growing up, like I said, I was playing in that band, and I took that for granted, and we were traveling all around the world, different countries, and playing on cruise ships, and to me, it was kind of like just work. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. You're older, and somebody's saying, "We want to make a movie about your life." You know, and they say, "Wow, you think my life was a movie?" And then you realize, wow, that really was great. Like I didn't realize it at the time how exciting it really was. But when you look back on it and you see, and when I was on the set, with Jack Black, and we would be like in big ballrooms, but they were reenactments of the actual ballrooms, that I used to play in. And with my same music stands that I used to play off of with that band, it was like deja vu. It's like going back in time and playing myself in this movie. But at the time of, when I was actually living it, I didn't think it was such a big deal. So I would say, it's important to not only, dream and not be afraid to fail and to go for your goals, but actually to enjoy what you're doing right now. And someday maybe somebody will ask, can I make a movie about you, Johnny Wynn, and how you used to do your podcasts? You know what I mean? And you would say, are you serious? Well, I was just doing podcasts. Something like that comes out of the blue, and you say, wow, this really was fun back then when I did that. Or can I make a movie about when you were at Keystone? You were so funny, and, you never know what's going to happen. So, enjoy the moment.
Yes. It's very interesting. Is it live now? Or can you after this interview can you like share the movie or how is it out?
Yeah, the movie's on Netflix right now.
Netflix. Okay, Netflix.
If you have
Um,
Netflix, you can watch. You can actually watch both. The documentary is really interesting. That's about, that's like the live footage of, interviews with me and the singer from Poland. That is the Polka King. The movie is about him, and that's the documentary that inspired the movie, The Polka King. So it was interesting because when they decided to make it into a movie, um, our band hadn't played together probably since like 2000 and probably 2008, and so they hired these musicians to play our music, but they really weren't good at it. So the movie producers said, well, we wonder if any of the original musicians are still performing, and would they do it? So sure enough, they called me, and that's how I got to be on, and I recorded the soundtrack to the whole movie with Jack Black and a couple other original band members that still play. So it was in the studio, with Jack Black that he said, well, next week we're going to Rhode Island to film parts of the movie. If you want to be in it, you could just come out and be in the movie. So that's what I did. So that's how I got in that movie.
That's so cool. Wait, what's the name of the movie? I'm trying to.
The movie's called The Polka King.
Polka King. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have, well, let me see. I have so many neat pictures with,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like Jack Black. Well, this is, if you can see the soundtrack, but that's the movie.
Ah, okay.
But that's the CD, the movie soundtrack. And it's really cool because it's Jack Black um, on the front. And when you open it up, see Jack Black, he autographed mine for me. You can see he signed it. And but what's really neat for me is, well, you won't be able to see it, but you know, in the credits on the CD, you see my name, Trumpet, on Jack Black's movie, you know, which is really cool. I don't know if it's,
It's really hard, but yeah, I will check.
yeah, it's so small, it's hard to see, but yeah, I have all kinds of pictures. I don't know, I can, if you go to my Facebook page, you can see all of them. There's a lot of pictures I have with Jack Black. Um, then we were on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it's on every night at 11:30. And then we were on the Today Show. It's on NBC every morning. So we have some neat public concerts with Jack Black, which is really neat.
How do you like feel about like in the movie, like in general? Like how do you feel?
It's just exciting. You know, I never expected it would happen, you know, but Jack Black, because everybody knows Jack Black, you know,
Yeah.
and he
Kung Fu
was,
Panda. Kung Fu
because
Panda.
he's a famous actor that, but, and I remember when they called me if I could record the soundtrack in New York City, I said to the lady on the phone, I said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, do you think I'll get to meet Jack Black? And she just laughed and she said, meet him? She's like, you're going to be working with him, you know, for the whole week. So I was like, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, you're going to be, what'd she say? Having breakfast, lunch, and dinners. She said, and working all day. And sure enough, we were, you know. And just in that short period of time, we got to be really good friends. And he's just down to earth. He's not, I always tell the story on one day, he was done recording his vocal parts. So he said he was going to leave the studio. And on his way out, he looked at me and he said, give me a call when you're done so we can go for dinner. So it was at, we actually had dinner at John's Pizza in on Times Square in New York City. But anyways, it was about a half an hour from the time that he left that I was done. So I walked out of the studio and the taxi cabs are all lined up. So I grab a taxi cab and I start to get in it. And I look on the corner and there's Jack Black. And he's standing, he has his backpack on, and he's looking at his phone, standing on the corner of the street. And I yelled over to him, I said, hey, Jack, aren't you going to the hotel? And he said, yeah. I said, well, come on, I have a taxi cab here. And you know what he said? He said, I'm waiting for Uber. And I said, come on. I said, I have the taxi. They're right here. And he's yelling down the street, but Uber's cheaper. And I said, well, last night it was only $10, you know, from the hotel or from the studio to the hotel. And he's like, I know, but Uber's only $7. So he was wanting to save $3, you know, on this ride to the hotel. But I had already got the taxi, so he jumped in the taxi and we both went, you know. But even at dinner time, you know, everybody in the place, you know, they recognize him in the restaurants and everybody wants to come over and get their picture taken. And he's just super friendly and yeah, come on over. And he takes, you know, pictures with everybody in the restaurant. And, you know, a lot of celebrities aren't like that. You know, a lot of, you know, say, get away, we're eating, or and he jokes around with everybody. The one lady said to him, um, we were waiting on a table the one night, and so while we waited, we went to the bar and we were having a beer, and a lady looked at him and she said, "You look so familiar to me." You know what he said? "So do you," he said. And they started asking, "Where did you go to high school?" And he had this lady convinced that they went to school together in Long Island, and then he was trying to convince her that he used to be her boyfriend. Because he said, "What?" And he was saying, "It's me, Jack. You don't remember me? It's me, Jack." And she just looked and she's like, "No." And she walked away. So we were having dinner and I said, "Oh my gosh, she's coming over." Because we were laughing so hard. And she walked over because then people must have tipped her off that that was Jack Black, you know. And she came over and she like slaps him on the shoulder and she says, "Give me a selfie, you idiot," because she realized it was him. But that was funny. But he's just down to earth like that, you know. He likes to joke around and you know be with the people. He wants to do more shows with us. Right now, he has his own band, you know, Tenacious D. So he's working on concerts right now with his own band, and then hopefully next summer we're gonna do some more shows together as the with the band from the movie.
That is so cool. I'm lucky how when you said he's down to earth, and
Yeah, yeah, you would never. We were on the Late Show in New York City, so we're waiting to go on stage, and it's so and he's opening the window. The dressing room is on the second floor, and he's opening the window and he's leaning out the windows, yelling at everybody on the sidewalks, you know, and they're all pointing up, saying, "Oh my gosh, that's Jack Black," you know, and he was just yelling at them, being funny. He loves all of that stuff.
yeah, that's what I like to hear because so many of I think people or in general I think that people think that celebrities are out of reach, or
Yeah,
they're like, well, some people think celebrities are gods, and I usually tell people that
hmm
celebrities aren't gods, right?
yeah,
They're people with flaws. Like,
yeah. Most of them don't want to be treated that way either, you know. If you a lot of celebrities, if you say, "Oh my gosh, you're Johnny Wynn. Oh my, can I have your autograph?" They look at you like, "Are you crazy?" You know, like. But you know, if you just work with them and, "Hey Johnny, how are you?" Then they just feel normal, and then you become friends. You know, a lot of
mm,
them don't like that big fuss or that makes them feel awkward. You know. But,
yeah. What does success look like to you? Has it changed over the years, from your when you were a kid and up to now?
yeah, I think it does. You know, of course, when you're very young, you think success is having sports cars and all that kind of stuff. You know, tons of money and sports cars. But you realize as you get older that's really it's nice to have, but what's important are friends and family and your quality of life, but mainly family,
Mm.
and
You,
health.
oh yeah. It seems like you love your family.
hmm Yeah, I have a great family. My stepdaughter's getting married pretty soon. She's having a
No.
bridal shower this Sunday, and then in October she'll be getting married. So we're excited for that.
Um.
How
What?
about you? Are you married yet?
No, I'm not married yet.
Not
No.
yet.
The thing is, I'm like trying to like live my dream, trying to do like interview with amazing people.
Yeah,
Maybe one day I will interview Jack Black. I'm
yeah,
trying to, because basically I'm trying to get all the famous people, well, in my head. So,
right.
I
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
mean,
if you
yeah.
said 2 years ago you're going to be in a movie with Jack Black, I would look at you and say, "Are you crazy?" You know. You never know what happens, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so thankful for the best-selling author. You know, he helped
Mm,
me. He was interviewed by Oprah, right? So
yeah.
yeah, and so he helped me to do like learn how to do interview. But also, I had this property manager. He was amazing. He taught me how to like an interview. It's like a conversation with two people, right? And trying to
Uh-huh.
and I like that one better than asking a bunch of questions, right? I don't like that. So what I try to do with my channel is try to connect with people, like their what they love to do, what what inspired them, and also to show people that they people care, right? Because
Mm,
we live in a world that is really. I know that people don't like to hear, but there's a lot of negative news, and
yeah.
since we live in America, there's a lot of been past shootings and pain, and I dislike it, and that's why I try to push my channel to be positive for people to see. You know,
Right.
when I hear you talk, you have this passion or compassion or empathy towards people because what was it, students, and I see it.
Hmm.
Where's this come from? Where's this like come from?
That's a good question. I really don't know. I always think of it, you know. I don't
Do
know if
what?
it's from parents, Probably, I would say, yeah. I would say if I had to really narrow it down, my father was one who really taught me to be nice to people, because I can remember, how kids are, with um, kids that are different, Um, I can remember one boy in the neighborhood that I grew up with. Um, Everybody called him Fat Albert because he was really heavy for his age, right? So as kids, young kids, we all made fun of him and we didn't want to hang out with them. And every time I would come home, my father worked as a vendor. So he had, his van in the driveway and all kinds of produce and products in the driveway. And this Alan would be there helping him out, you know. And I can remember saying to my dad, Dad, what are you doing? Like, what if my friends see him at our house? They're going to make fun of me. And he would always tell me, oh, he's just like everybody else. And why do you talk like that? And then he would always be at my house. And then pretty soon I started to realize, well, he's no different than anybody else just because he looks different. And then we became really good friends after a while. But it was my father that would always say, why are you, treating him different than anybody, you know? Because kids are cruel. They'll make fun of other students or other kids, but yeah, I would say that was where I learned it was probably my father.
Yes, you are absolutely right, though. Sorry, kids are cruel.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back when I was in special. I mean, when I was in high school or middle school, or I get made fun of a lot. I remember I couldn't spell metal to mental, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't live in like the American homes where they speak English. My mom speaks Vietnamese, so I have to speak that to her. I was like, really? Yeah. But thank you so much. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, even as you get older, you know, the one thing that I really like, if you talk about education, is one of the things that I don't like about schools is their philosophy that everybody has to be good, at math, reading, writing, sports, you know, and the thing is, instead of focusing on what you're really good at, they focus on what you're not good at. So my philosophy is, let's say you're in high school and you are like the best student in math, but in reading or writing, you have a D, you know, or you're failing. In our country, what we'll do is, well, he's okay at math, then we need to get him all day classes in reading because he's not good at that. Where if you would say, hey, this guy is good at math, let's run with that. Let's make him the best math person ever. So let's give him 5 periods of math a day, and you would become a math genius. You know, we don't do that. We focus on what you're not good at and try to make it better. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
an
a very
interesting,
yeah.
it's an interesting way to look at it, and it's kind of like there was a story called The Animal School, and you can Google that. And I really like that story because it tells about all the animals got together and they decided to have a school. So then the next thing was they had to decide like what curriculum they were going to have. So they said, well, let's have running, let's have flying, and let's have swimming. So, and then the story goes, those were the courses that you had to pass. Well, it was like the fish got an A in swimming, but he failed flying, you know, and pretty soon all the animals had failing grades, you know, because the curriculum was set that they couldn't do it, you know. So instead of focusing on what you're good at, you know, we do just the opposite.
That's a very interesting like philosophy. I like it. I love it. When like you say like wow that's a new perspective that can help so many teachers in training, um,
Hmm.
and or because I want this video or interview to be inspirational for teachers too, not just for
Yeah.
students.
Yeah, I always
But
like that story. That's called
kingdom.
the animal school. If you Google it, the animal school, you could probably find that story, which is really neat. And then the other person I actually went and met, his name was Howard Gardner from he taught at Harvard, taught education. But his whole thing, he wrote books called The Theory of Multiple Intelligences, and that was his whole uh, thinking process was that you have to find what you're good at and then really drive that home and stick with it. You know, he would say, you know, why do we look at in our country like a doctor makes a lot of money, a lawyer makes a lot of money, but you get other professions like a truck driver, right? Now they make good money, but not like a doctor or lawyer. But everybody has their own special skill. So if you can back a tractor trailer into a shipping dock, that's a skill, you know. That doctor, on the other hand, he could never do that probably, you know, no matter how hard he tried. Where, you know, he talked about ship, you know, people that captain ships, you know, they have navigational ability, which everybody doesn't have. So once you find out what your skill is, you should stick with that and not try to, you know, remediate or make your weaknesses, not spend your time on all that, but take what you're really good at and just go with that, you know.
That is so powerful. What? How do you know about that? That's uh, that's very interesting. Usually, I never hear anybody. I don't know if anyone talk about the Howard Gardner because I have his book,
Howard,
but yeah,
yeah.
because his book is so old, I have to like try to get the new one because his book is old. But
Hmm.
that's the thing. How do you where when you say that? That's pretty interesting because most people don't read nowadays, or most people don't like knowledge or nowadays. What is
I actually learned that when I went back to get my master's degree and my principal certification, I had to write a paper, and it would just so happen I remembered Howard Gardner was giving a speech at a different university. So I thought I'm going to get extra credit because not only am I going to write about The Theory of Multiple Intelligences by Howard Gardner. But when I give my book report, I'm going to show my picture with him and that I went to talk with him and get his autograph. So that was pretty neat because I was able to show that, you know, that I went and actually talked to the author, but he was actually coming to a college near me to give a speech. So I was able to meet him. But
That's awesome. Holy crap, that's cool. Wait, is he alive now? Is he
what's
alive?
that?
Wait, is he alive now?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's still out there.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can interview him.
yeah, that would
So
be neat. But
yeah,
I think that's a big thing. Kids feel like, you know, I'm not good because I don't have, good grades in all my subjects. I'm not dean's list, but whatever subject they're good at, take that. That's going to make you the money. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's music, if it's sports, people will make fun of, well, the high school quarterback, yeah, he's winning a lot of games, but he can barely read or he's. Not good at school. Well, the thing is, as long as he's spending time being the quarterback and practicing, and he may play for the Pittsburgh Steelers one day, and make more money than all of us. So who's to decide, what's important? You know, you're going to be successful at what you like to do and what you're good at, So like your podcast and things, once you just stick with it, you get better and better, and pretty soon we'll see you like on the nightly news.
yeah, but we don't know who's watching though. We don't know who's watching though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the good thing too. I didn't know Jack Black was watching that documentary either. And he said, we'll make a movie out of it. So you never
Thank
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. But what you say is very true. Like for the students, like you have a very different mindset, which I am grateful and appreciate for it, because
Yeah.
not many teachers or adults think like you do. It's very difficult because we believe that my philosophy is a little bit different from a lot of things because I don't like school. I actually hate school. That's my
Hmm.
I wasn't the valedictorian, or like you said, if I was good in math, I love math, and if I was put in that category, I would excel in math. But they put me in this thing or this subject that I hate. I don't. Um,
Yeah.
I remember back then when I was in school, I hate English. The only reason why I hate English because of my grandmother boyfriend, right? He's like, this kid is better than you. I was like, who cares if he's better than me? I'm not going to try to be good at English. Why?
Right. Right.
So that's my thing. And so the whole thing, I remember back when I was in high school, I had a lot of pressure. But when I went to Keystone, I stopped having that much pressure, right? Because there's so like people judge you based upon if you have a good grades or if you got because I got held back. I got held back. Well, like if I would go back to high school, I would be a ninth grader,
Yeah.
right? So I had lots of pressure, and plus I had a lot of pressure at home because I had to be the older brother. I had to go shopping, grocery shopping by myself, picking up like heavy food. My mom
Yeah.
couldn't go shopping, so that's
Right.
tough. And that's what you know,
What's really cool about Job Corps is that your teachers there give you your report card, which is your grade. I don't know what they called it when you were there, but the neat thing about it was it didn't matter if you were in math class, if you were smart or if you weren't the smartest. That had nothing to do with your grade in there. Remember that? Like your grade was all based upon social skills. Like, did you come to class on time? Were you friendly? Were you, did you stay awake in class? Did you do your work? But never did you have a 90% average. Did you get an A? You got 80, you got a B, 70, a C. It was always, if you showed up to class on time and tried to work and try to do your best, you would get a good grade. It didn't matter if you didn't understand the math or not. It was all about you showing up and trying. And it's still that way to this day. So, that really helps, I think, take the fear out that in public school, you could try as hard as you want and you could be every day on time and dressed appropriately, but you don't understand it and you got 50% on your test, so you fail. Where at Keystone and other job corps, if you're there trying your best, you get A's, you know, even if you not understand it. You trying, so you get an A, which was, I thought, really neat way of grading students.
It's been a long time. I can't remember. But I like the way how they structure the recreational. I love it. Um, the what was it? Movies, right? On Fridays. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah, they have a lot of good activities.
for you, uh, where do you see yourself? Because you're doing amazing things. Like where do you see yourself in like 5 years from now? Like, do you have?
Oh, what I would like to do, just have private students to teach music to, you know, teach private trumpet lessons. Trumpet's my main instrument, so I think it would be nice just to have private trumpet students and work with them, you
Is
know.
it hard, to like play? If you, like, but you love. It sounds like that you love to teach.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah, I do, and it's a great way to make a living too. You could say, because I'm past the age of wanting to travel on the road all the time. It's nice to travel, and I still do. Um, I have a crazy schedule still. I play every weekend. I play with a band called Popstar Drive. So we travel and play every, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then there's still people want to see the guys in the band from that movie that we just made. So like next weekend, it's funny, I play a fair. There's a big county fair here, so my band Popstar Drive plays there on Friday night. Then Saturday, I catch a real early flight out of Philadelphia to West Palm Beach, Florida. And there's a block party in West Palm Beach that's dedicated to the movie. So I'm going to play my trumpet there, and a couple other people from the movie will be there. And then I'm going to fly right back home. And the next day, I have a wedding back here in my hometown. So it's like, going all over the place. But just, one day Pennsylvania, the next day Florida, the next day Pennsylvania again. But they have great flights out of Philly, like at 7 in the morning. So get there in 2 hours and get back in 2 hours. So
You really enjoy your life. I think that we should enjoy our life, like you said. Oh man,
where do you live now, Johnny?
huh?
Where are you living?
Oh, Maryland, Maryland,
In Maryland. Yeah.
and
That's
you're
nice.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
when you well, actually, I remember back then when I was traveling. What was it? Was it Maryland to PA?
Yeah.
Sometimes I travel by Greyhound. It was scary, right? First leaving the house, but it was pretty awesome actually. To PA to Keystone, it was pretty awesome. It was like,
Yeah.
what was going
Like
on?
country.
No,
They see, like, they'll see deer walking across Keystone. Let's say Mr. Saive, did they bite you? Because they never saw one before, you know. They had no idea what they were because the inner city students, you know, they never saw animals before like that.
For me, one thing about was Keystone was that they have huge mountains.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
I
and they're massive,
was
man.
teacher principal, so he could tease you guys too, you know. The
Um,
kids just, I remember at night you would walk from the rec building to your dormitory.
wait, what was it?
And if you walk from the rec building to your dormitory, you know, at night, some students would be afraid, you know. And I would tell them, here's my advice. I said, when you walk across campus at night, always walk with somebody that you can run faster than. So they would think about it for a while, and then they would get it, you know. But
You're very fun. You know, when we talk, it's like very comfortable. I like it. I like it. Um, oh yeah, like what the trumpet? Like when like you love it so much. How is it difficult to play?
uh, it is at first, you know, it takes a lot of air. But my father played the trumpet, so I always wanted to play it. I had an older brother. He was trying to teach my older brother to play it, and he didn't want to learn it. So I was always saying, you know, let me have it, let me have it. So finally, he let me try it, me how to play it, and then I took lessons. And you know, I always played in bands from high school on till today. You know, so it's good. It's a good hobby. It's a good profession. It's a good way to make money. You know.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes. Oh man, you're talking about Keystone, talking about what you love to do, and oh yeah, what is your passion? Since we're talking about that and what you love to do,
what is my passion and what was
what
the other part?
what would you love? I mean, what you love to do?
I like to do music. Like if I could do music full time, that's what I would do. You know, I play on the weekends. Um, that's why I said like if I could get private students, say Monday through Thursday, to fill in my schedule, that would be great. And then I would just be doing music all the time.
Hmm. How do you felt when you left Keystone, or what at that field? At
It
that
was
time?
sad. You know, I was there 25 years.
How
So
how much? I
I
can't
was
hear you.
sad for, and I would miss working with the students, you know, not working with the company or the, you know, the other teachers were nice and all. Um, but I wasn't going to miss that new corporation that came in because I really didn't care for how they handled things and, you know, how they work with students. But you know, the kids are the biggest part of why you do it, you know. So I would say that was probably the hardest part. Is not working with the kids all the time. I still see a lot of them on Facebook.
Yeah,
But
Facebook. I try to. My forte is not on Facebook. mine is
yeah,
more like mine is more like YouTube and somewhat
yeah.
Instagram, but whatever. But yeah, and when it comes to which you, I was thinking about a lot of things. If you could give one advice to Keystone student, what would it be? Like, because I remember what it would it be.
Well, my advice to them is to stick with it and not give up. You know, so many kids want to quit or they don't um, see the value in staying. You know, a lot of times the issues that they have at home, you know, make them want to leave. But that's the easy thing to do. And the hard part is to say, well, I know that's a problem at home, but if I stay at Keystone, get my diploma, my trade credential, then I'll be able to make some money and I'll be able to help that problem a lot better than if I just quit now and come home, you know? So a lot of students, it's hard to convince them of that, you know? Maybe their mothers watching their kids while they're away and they're struggling, but once you're done, you can find a nice job and be able to support those kids better than if you just dropped out and ran home and tried to find a job. Okay.
Yes, yes. You're absolutely right. I almost wanted to quit, but Gma, because I was the main person at home doing everything. Well, not yeah. Well, time
Yeah, so
and
you know
I
how it
yeah
is.
yeah and my mom would call me and say, "Oh, there's trouble in the home. Come back home," or something like that. And Gma, my favorite RA, Gma, we call her Gma for Washington A, or I don't. It used to be what I don't know about now. Okay, but
Yeah,
um, she was like, she would help me through it, stuff like that. But I'm glad that I didn't give up. I think
yeah,
it helped. Also, Keystone also help you with your drivers, right? And then
yeah.
DV and all the
Your driver's license,
yes,
that's a big deal.
yes. And thank you so. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Why did you say yes to do an interview? If when I
Oh,
asked you.
I always enjoy meeting people, and especially you. I remembered you from Keystone, and thought it was neat that you were doing your YouTube show, and plus it's nice to see students that I used to work with, and I remember. Well, there's some that live around here, so I get to see them on occasion, and but it's always nice to see. It's interesting for me to see how you guys are doing now too.
Yes. Yes. Well, for me, I have changed a lot. After I left Keystone, I think I was having the hardest day of my life, actually,
Yeah,
because 2011 I broke up with my ex. So at first it was going great, right? In my head, I was like, okay, I got my life together, right?
right.
Uh, I got my GED. I already got a driver license, right? And then after that, I left. I got like a job, and then I went to college. But after the breakup, everything just came crashing, right?
Hmm.
And but the thing is, I'm grateful for the breakup. I'm grateful for the moment of chaos because without those moments, it wouldn't lead me to books. It wouldn't lead me to much more bigger. Back then, I didn't have a dream, right? I didn't have a goal. Even if I was in Keystone, I didn't have a dream for myself. But
Right.
now it's much more bigger. Even though it sounds crazy, it actually, you know what? You do amazing things, right? So it doesn't like my dream. It's like to be able to connect with amazing people like yourself and other people.
Yeah.
But that's what I want, right? Because I do, like you said, we should not have regrets. Regrets are heavy, and I did not want to die not doing my dream. I think
Hmm.
that's not cool, right?
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, it's pretty cool to talk to you. It's like to bring back
Yeah, it's good to see you
memories.
again.
Yes. Wait, how was I? I don't know how I was a student. I want to like know from a point of view of yourself. How was
Oh, you were good. I told my wife because I remember. I don't know if you remember, but I always used to yell your name out because there's a who did I always used to yell Johnny Wen because reminded me of there was a cartoon Johnny Quest.
Oh, you did yell my name.
You
Okay,
remember?
okay, okay. Yes,
I
yes.
thought you had the neatest name, believe it or not. And I told my wife, "Hey, I was playing that we were gonna do this, and I said that poor guy used to yell his name all the time.
No, I mean, because basically sometimes I feel like I cause trouble for teachers because I remember one time I got in trouble, right? Because I wanted to do something different. I guess I was the only one who did it. It was in this. What was it? They were giving out like certificate for like
Yeah.
reading or something, or and I got up the stage and I was like, I grabbed the mic and I said, "But it's okay," and everybody like rise up. I got in trouble for that though. I remember. Uh,
Well,
but
at least you
yeah,
did.
but it's just a fun time. But that's why I am grateful for the experience. It still plays in my mind though. Like that was the best experience that I had more than the high school like days.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, you're like fully immersed in it. You live there and you sleep there. So after a while, it gets to be like home.
Mhm. Wait, did the teacher would go home, of course, right? Because I
Yeah.
forget. Yeah, they would go. And then okay, so we have to live there. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, ah, thank you so
Well,
much.
I gotta get rolling. So my
Oh
wife
yeah,
is
yeah,
home.
yeah,
So
yeah. Subscribe to
it's
my
been a
channel.
pleasure talking to you.
Yes. Yeah, it's a pleasure to talking to you too. I forget. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.